Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question again and put repeat question and get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do have to do our question of the day. This is going to be a tough one, but if you guys had to get rid of one Pokemon evolution line, which one are you going to get rid of? The Squirtle line or the Bulbasaur line? And then we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is ARIZONATCG. If you guys are looking to sell your graded cards, and you do not want to deal with a bunch of people lowballing you or having to ship cards out every other day, ARIZONATCG is perfect. You just send them all your graded cards. They're going to take professional scans. Then they're going to post to their massive weekly eBay auctions. And as you can see, people trust them with the rarest cards in the world. We got a level X Darkrai in a PSA 10 asking 15 grand, buy it now. You can change it to buy it now or auction. You have full control. Then also they did a promotion during the holidays and it went over so well that they actually lowered their prices to basically match that promotion. So now they have all new low prices. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links in the description. Then, of course, if you're going to grade 2 PSA for your very first time, you can click my link in the description, use the code BEARD25, and you receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. All right, first question is from 10 Rings of Comics. Getting into the hobby with my son, we want to rip and invest. Would you say for investing, having multiple regular ETBs is better than no ETB, or say for PC ETBs and have less? Thanks, really enjoy your content. Then someone commented down below, if you can afford it, I much rather recommend getting booster boxes over ETBs or PC ETBs. So if we actually look at the Scarlet and Violet era, PC ETBs versus booster boxes, PC ETBs are absolutely destroying literally every single booster box. So here's the top 3 PC ETBs from the Scarlet and Violet era. We got Paldea Evolved, last sold 485, 470, 500, 550. We have Obsidian Flames, last sold 590, 575, and 629. And remember, these boxes have all gone down in price even. They're not even at their all-time highs. And 151 Pokemon PC ETB. This one is going back out to its all-time high. That sold 955, 982, 980. So that's the top 3. And remember, these were $60 a box. Now we're going to look at the top 3 booster boxes. We have Obsidian Flames, Scarlet and Violet era. Remember, these were $160 a box. So this one is just barely double MSRP for Obsidian Flames, selling for $325. Paldea Evolved booster box, sitting at about $450. Last sale, $429, $414, $455. So doing very good. And then, of course, Destined Rivals. You know, this box just went to almost $600. Now that's sold $597, $550, $554, $520. So that's the top 3 Pokemon Center ETBs versus the top 3 booster boxes. Now, like I said, Pokemon Center ETBs only cost $60. These cost $160. The top 3 are destroying these top 3 booster boxes. And if you're thinking, it's just because it's the top 3, look at Stellar Crown, the worst Pokemon Center ETB in the Scarlet and Violet era, right along with Shrouded Fable. But this one is basically the cheapest, $120. That is double MSRP. And if you look, that's literally what the 3rd best booster box is for the Scarlet and Violet era, is double MSRP. And even if we go one step further and look at all of the Scarlet and Violet era and Mega Evolution booster boxes, I mean, almost none of them are double MSRP. It's kind of actually crazy. You know, most of these boxes are up like $80 to like $120, something like that. You know, Scarlet and Violet booster box, market price $270. So that's up $110, Journey Together. Market price $244. That's up like $85. So Pokemon Center ETBs are absolutely destroying these booster boxes. Now, I will admit that they do not sell as much as a booster box, but they still do sell, I mean, basically just as much as a regular ETB, unless it gets super, super expensive. And that is for everything, even booster boxes. The more expensive a booster box is, the less it sells. So that's very, very normal. And in my opinion, here is the one main reason why I'm so obsessed with Pokemon Center ETBs. Yes, they are new, and we technically don't know how good they're going to do in the future, but that's one of the reasons why I like it. We're getting in early. You know, especially a lot of these newer people that, you know, just started out in the last year, or maybe the last couple years, you have a chance to get in on something that's really not that old. And the biggest reason, too, is you got to think about the big people in the world, you know, Rudy from Alpha Investments, all these big people, these online stores that order, you know, 10,000 booster boxes at a time or whatever it is. Even them would have to sit on the Pokemon Center website and try to get these Pokemon Center ETBs just like every other person, unless they're doing like crazy bots. But still, even then, that's not guaranteed. I mean, Pokemon Center just canceled a ton of bots orders for Ascended Heroes. So yeah, that's why I really, really love Pokemon Center ETBs. And then, of course, the stamp promos and stuff in there. you know, you could technically always open it up and grade it in a 10. It could be worth even more than the sealed product. So that's also cool. But yeah, I just like knowing that there's crazy millionaires out there that are also sitting on the Pokemon Center website trying to get these PC ETBs, just like every other person. And like I always say, that's one of the most exclusive products we can even get. And that's why I'm going all out in the Pokemon Center ETB. So definitely, you know, try to pick up a couple Pokemon Center ETBs, you know, maybe just of your favorite sets or whatever it is. I promise you, in a few years, you're going to be so happy that you did. Next question is from @Ray de Credito. Is it worth investing in the Japanese 151 set? So let's take a little look. I know the box has been moving kind of slow, and it did kind of take some of the steam away also that we got Master Balls now in all of our new English sets all the time. So this set having Master Balls doesn't feel as special, even though I think this set is much better than our English 151 set. And this box will do good, but I mean, you can kind of compare it to the Japanese EV Heroes and stuff. That box is a slow mover compared to, you know, anything English. So I do think these boxes will just keep slowly rising and they will do very good down the road. But there's probably going to be some English products that, you know, double faster than this box will, because Japanese does move slow sometimes. And I think we do have another question about Japanese boxes here soon. Next is from @Jims. Dear Mr. Beard, with how expensive 151 and Obsidian Flames PC ETBs are, do you think it's better to invest in their promos or the ETBs? So that really depends on you. It depends on how picky you are. If you really take the time and try to find some really, really clean copies that have a chance at a 10, I mean, you could technically make way more money than you would, you know, getting the sealed products. But yeah, if you cannot afford the actual Pokemon Center ETB because they are so expensive, definitely just pick up a Pokemon Center ETB promo. And like I said, just try to be as clean as possible so you have a chance at a 10. Even some 9s. You know, even some 9s can cross over to 10s. It just depends on, you know, how clean that 9 is. So don't always, like, you know, shoo away the 9s. Take a little look. You never know what you're going to find. Next is from Michael Andries to 80. Hey Beard, I've been sitting on a few booster boxes of VMAX, Climax, and V-Star Universe. They are the only Japanese investment in my collection. I've been trying to sell them, but they don't spike interest. Do Japanese sealed products move more slowly? These are good sets in my opinion. They are great sets. And honestly, I mean, they're doing pretty good. And they went from 130 at the end of December to now like 150. So like I said, they're moving slow. You really kind of got to wait till Japanese gets hyped up again, which will probably happen. And Japanese, I swear, constantly just goes up and down, fluctuates more than anything else in this hobby. So I would probably wait for a little bit more Japanese hype, you know, wait for some stuff to move, which there is some Japanese cards that are starting to go up in price. So, you know, that's probably what I would do. But yeah, they're going to take a lot longer to sell than, you know, something that's English and more popular. Next is from @Smalls151. Do you think Brilliant Stars is a good investment right now, considering buying a few PC ETBs since they're fairly low compared to others in the market? Absolutely. Even the regular ETB at like 120 now, I mean, it was just like $100 a couple weeks ago. Yeah, 122 for the regular ETB and 167 for the Pokemon Center ETB. These are both going up in price right now. And I generally feel like people are going to be kicking themselves for not picking up some of these regular ETBs and PC ETBs when they were in the hundreds, because we know how expensive they can get. Next is from @Damian Mydlowski 4312. Can somebody tell me why Crown Zenith ETBs are still sitting at 250, one of the best sets of all time? So they're moving good also, you know, slowly but surely. And if you look, they are one of the most expensive Sword and Shield regular ETBs, you know, right there with Fusion Strike. And then Celebrations is just outbeating them just a little bit by like, you know, $40 or $50. Then, of course, Evolving Skies is the big dog. And then even Rebel Clash, one of the worst sets in the Sword and Shield era, is the same price as Crown Zenith. And that's just because it didn't really get any reprints. But that's one of the reasons why I like to invest in every single set. So yeah, in my opinion, I think Crown Zenith is doing very, very good. Like I said, slowly but surely, and it will eventually be, you know, a $300, $350, $400, $500 box. We just don't know exactly when. And you got to think too, Crown Zenith was the last set in the Sword and Shield era, and they did give us a ton of reprints. So it does make sense for this box to be one of the slower moving ones, but as you can see, it's still one of the most expensive ETBs on the market. And I'm obsessed. I'm so happy I stocked up on those. Next is from @Bryce Princeton. Dear PokeBeard, wondering if you think trading a Paldean Fates PC ETB for a Bubble Mew Raw PSA 9 is a silly idea. We all know not to trade sealed for singles, but I think Bubble Mew will be the top card of the Scarlet and Violet era in a few years. Is this the exception? Yeah, if you are going to trade sealed products for a card, you know, having it be one of the most popular cards in the entire era is definitely the best possible option. Again, I probably wouldn't trade a Pokemon Center ETB for that. But like I said, it is totally fine because you are getting the best card. And there's a good chance that Bubble Mew could be a, you know, $1,000 raw card one day or $1,500 raw card. We've seen it many times with, you know, very modern, popular cards. Even though there's a ton of them printed, they can still go crazy. So I think you are totally fine. Next is from @FBomb. I've heard that some of these new gold cards are hard to move for vendors. If this is the case, how are they holding their value with not many people buying? So I actually noticed now the last month, they finally started to sell a little bit more, especially like the Mega Gardevoir and like the Mega Lucario, now that they're actually getting down to a somewhat reasonable price. But I generally just feel like, because there isn't very many of them on the market, because they're actually very, very tough to pull. So, the people that do want them, they're just buying them at these prices, even if it is just a sale every few days. So they're just holding their value pretty good. But yeah, it blows my mind too, that even like the red Victini, how good that value's, held. It's kind of crazy. All right, next is from Timothy. Hey, Beard, I have a question about investing in newer sets from Surging Sparks and newer. With so many people now keeping products sealed to resell in the future, once the hype dies down, what's going to happen to the price of all these sets? I feel like there is so much printed and unopened. Won't the price tank once people want to move on to the next hype thing? So yeah, if the market actually cools off and Pokemon cools off altogether, prices will definitely come down hardcore. I mean, there is a world to where Pokemon in a year completely cools off to where even Destined Rivals booster boxes drops down to like $250, $200 a box. It's possible. It's technically still possible for that Destined Rivals booster box to drop down below MSRP. Now, it's very, 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 very unlikely, but it's still technically possible, and we've seen it so many times. I don't think we've ever had a booster box that was never under MSRP. So Destined Rivals would basically be the first one. Now let's talk about everybody sitting on products in their closet. You got to think, if the market does cool off, I genuinely don't think everybody's going to try to sell their products all at the exact same time. And then there is stuff that's going to be, going down like crazy, which is the more common stuff, the stuff you find at Walmart or Target. And this is why I constantly say, try to get booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs. The only two things that you cannot get from a Walmart and a Target. That's why I go so hard on those two products. But yeah, prices will definitely come down. And here's another thing I feel like people don't really think about. People aren't really good at sitting on these sealed products. There's so many people that I know that try to sit on a sealed product or something and they open it a month later, 6 months later, a year later. So it's not like every single person right now that has all these products in their closet is just going to keep them all, never open them, and then they're going to all sell them at the exact same time. There's a lot of people, I have Prismatic. I'm not going to sell Prismatic for like 30 years. So no one's getting my Prismatic from me for a very, very long time. And that's why I always preach, buy stuff at the bottom. I've been saying that since the very first day I started my channel, way before everybody else started preaching about, buy at MSRP only. I've been talking about that forever. Buy at the bottom. It's the absolute safest to where if stuff does go down in price, you're not going to actually lose any money because you bought it at the absolute bottom. So that's what I always try to do. And like I said, try to get the best products possible that are way less common. Because yes, if the market cools off, the common stuff crashes so hard. Even the booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs will still come down in price, but not nearly as bad as, the stuff that everybody can pick up from Walmart every single day. Next is from Degen Wins M4C. Hope you're feeling better, Beard. Thank you. I have a two-part question. I know you always recommend trading cards for sealed, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on this trade I made over this weekend. What I gave, Journey Together, Pokemon Center ETB, still has 3, plus a Sabrina's Gengar Japanese, lightly played, still has a PSA 9. What I received, Evolving Skies ETB, Espeon with 1 small dent on the side. I think that's totally fine trade. Part 2, what price would you consider to be good on the secondary market for Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center ETBs after release? This is another Pokemon Center ETB that I'm going to go crazy on. You got to think, we didn't get booster boxes. I think this set's way better than Destined Rivals. So if it does get down to 150, I'm buying a ton of them. But in my head, I can't really see it going like lower than like 170 to 180 in my opinion. And there's even a chance it doesn't even get below $200, but I'm definitely buying every Ascended Heroes Pokemon Center ETB that is below $200, especially if it is minty. Next is from Essential Kilo 2162. This one's easy, Mr. Beard. When are you coming down to Vending, California? I speak for all of us patiently waiting for you to bless us with your presence. So I was actually supposed to go to Cali for card party at the next one, but I can't make it because I have another card show that I already signed up for before that. So still have nothing planned for Cali, but if anybody runs a show or anything like that and they want me to come, definitely hit me up. I would love to come to Cali to vend. And no joke, I am working on the craziest vending setup in the entire world. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I genuinely feel like my vending setup will be the coolest one on the entire planet. I'm hoping I can debut it at the very end of this month at Trading Card Con in Kansas City, but I don't know if everything will be here in time, but it will for sure be ready to rock by next month. So definitely look out for that. Next is from Mike Z. Angle. Hey, Beard. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you. Awesome content as always. I'm contemplating selling off or trading some vintage slabs at an upcoming card show. Specifically a PSA 5 Dark Raichu, first edition, a CGC 6.5 Neo Genesis Lugia, and a CGC 8 Neo Discovery Umbreon, and a CGC 8 Dark Espeon. Is it more desirable from a vendor standpoint to have those raw or accept mid-level grades? I'm happy to crack the slabs, just not sure what the more desirable play from the vendor side. So there's going to be some vendors who aren't going to want the CGCs and stuff. That's definitely a possibility. But a lot of times I like to have the slabs because there's going to be a lot of vendors who are going to say, man, this card would probably grade like a 3 or a 4 when, you know, you have it graded at a 5 or a 6 or whatever it is. So definitely try to sell them as slabs first because it's just so much easier to look up prices as slabs also. Because like I said, if you think your card is lightly played, there's going to be 50 vendors in there that say that card is moderately played no matter what you say. Next question is from Gilbert Tojaquin 3188. I butchered that. Hi, Senior Beard. A smaller long-term hold question. I still find sleeve boosters during restocks. What's a Scarlet and Violet or Mega Evolution you see as a buy when you see it around type of play? Honestly, I'd buy any sleeve booster from the Scarlet and Violet era and Mega Evolution right now, especially if you can find it in stock at MSRP. I think that is a great pickup. If you do want to stay away from anything, maybe stay away from like Stellar Crown, Shroud of Fable, and maybe the new set Perfect Order. Those are definitely our worst 3 sets. And I mean, they're still great sets if you compare them to the entire world of Pokemon. Like, no joke, even Stellar Crown and Shroud of Fable beat out 90% of all Pokemon sets. But all right, next question is from Cascadia TCG. I'm a new vendor. I have my second and third show coming up. I have a decent inventory of cards in the $20 to $200 range, plus some binders of cheaper cards. I feel like I lack some of the bigger hits from the Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield era because I've held them back on my PC. Would you advise being willing to part with some of my favorite higher end cards to help grow the vending inventory and try to get them back later as I continue to vend? Appreciate you. I mean, you could maybe do a couple cards, but to be honest, you're really not going to notice it. You're going to notice them missing from your collection more than the extra couple $100 you get, you know, vending. So I would just honestly hold on to them, keep vending. You're going to get a lot of collections brought to you, and then that's where you're going to get some good cards. Especially too, I always look for doubles because I have a major problem to where if I buy a card that I don't have or it's nicer than my card, I just automatically keep it no matter what. But if I buy a collection and it's a bunch of doubles and my cards are nicer, I'm totally fine with selling every single one of them. So yeah, just keep vending, keep your stuff. You know, you worked hard on that collection. Like I said, maybe you could sell a card or two or something, but it's not going to make the biggest difference. So hold it, and I guarantee you'll get some crazy collections coming through the more you vend. And the last question is from a member at PokeGingers. What are you going to do when you complete all the Throwback Thursday sets? So I've been thinking about that. Let me know down below what you guys want to see, but I think I might just start over because, I mean, the prices from base set, when I covered them like a year ago to now, is crazy. I mean, vintage has just gone wild now the last few months. So I'll probably just start all over. And I do have to mention, PokeGinger actually donated this beautiful Zeraora V-Star, which we will be giving away this Sunday. So make sure you guys check out my Sunday video. I think I might do a tier list this Sunday. I think I might do the best products of 2025. I'm not 100% sure yet. But all right, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys like this content, want to stay ahead of the market, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, YouTube membership. Mrs. PokeBeard started a TikTok. Go follow her there. And then, of course, I want you guys to have a great day. And then if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon Market Monday, which was a crazy one, I promise you, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.